What's going on, fellow pilots? Well, wife's doing better, so I am back home. Everything's doing good, and she's getting better, so looks like I'm back. So I figured I'd get a video I've been wanting to do for a while, kind of a basics video, but this is also an advanced. I get a lot of questions from guys that have been doing this a long time about paints, so I thought I'd kind of cover what I use, why I use it, and something similar that you guys can use, that you can find locally if you may not be able to find the brand that I use. Okay, so first we'll start out here. Just to show you guys what I use here. Here's a wide variety of paints that I use, and we're talking spray paints here. I went ahead and threw in for like my airbrush. I mean, with my airbrush, it's obvious I use master acrylic style paints, concentrate that you mix up, dilute, stuff like that, just for the airbrush. So just was going to have that out there. For my airbrush, I use acrylics, and for my touch-up and detailing, when I'm using a artist brush, a ballpoint brush, or anything like that, I use acrylics. So with that said, now out of the way, guys, the spray paint issue on foam planes. It's one of the most crazy questions to find an answer to on the internet, on RC groups and stuff. I've read thousands and thousands of posts on this, and I'm not kidding. I spent a lot of time trying to figure out what was safe, what wasn't. So I started doing my own testing. What I found out was, guys, that most any paint really will work on a quality foam, on an EPO, on an EPS. EPP, I have not tried a lot of stuff with, guys, so the thin EPP to make, like, you know, you guys have seen my Yak 55 on here. You know, I did spray it with this stuff. I sprayed it with actually the Krylon H2O latex-based paint, but they don't sell that anymore. So, and it's a heavy paint anyways, guys. You really don't want to use that. So that's what I used on my Yak, okay? Now, for my other projects I've got going on, you can see it over there. Sorry about my mess, guys. Right now, it's still in the stages of getting random primed, filled with Hobby Light filler, sanded, and cleaned out. I'm keeping all the detail lines in it, but everything else is getting sanded 100% smooth. Cut off the elevators and ailerons to get rid of those EPO hinges, and putting on Dubrow nylon steel pin hinges through that, because that is going to get an RC Lander thrust vectoring 70mm unit with an E-Flite Delta V15. So that's going to get a major hop up, so I'm getting the body nice and smooth so I can do my final step clear coat that I do, my own little process I came up with that I've been meaning to post for a long time, guys, but it'll get it to look damn near like plastic when it's done. Shiny, I mean shiny, fresh painted, you know, hard material. So we'll go back to the paints. Now, alright guys, what I use is the last thing I ever thought I would use when I first started reading about paints. What I'm actually using, guys, is direct to metal. This is a metal only spray paint and it is a paint and primer in one, guys, but it is a rust preventative enamel. So, first of all, I wouldn't have usually used an enamel. I would have used an acrylic or a latex. And second of all, I definitely would never have looked at a rust preventive paint and primer, because these are usually very strong in their chemical makeup. And actually, guys, it is. But, okay, Exo Rust is just True Value Hardware's brand for similar products like Rust-Oleum, okay? They sell it in every color in the rainbow. I got a few of them out here. A few of the Rust-Oleums, just to show you guys what I'm talking about, and a couple others. But as you can see here, I got a bag full of like one that's just for like primers, silvers, primers, and grays. Good base color for anything. I mean, I even have some white primer in there, I think. Yeah. I mean, it's a mess here, guys. Sorry. And you know, I have more paints in there, but so that's what I use, guys. Is Exo Rust Professional Rust Preventative Enamel paint and primer in one. Gloss, flat. I've used all different kind of coats of it, so I've used them all. They all work the same. I prefer the gloss because actually when it's sprayed onto the foam after the primer and everything like that, it's really not that glossy. So that's what I'm going with. Now for clear coats, guys, this is made by the same brand. You get it at True Value. It's Premier Decor. It is also, I believe, an enamel. No, this one is an acrylic. This one actually is right there, an acrylic finish. Okay, so I'm using enamel and acrylic, guys, from the same company, same chemical makeup on these paints. Okay, so same company, but it's just not the automotive looking kind. So what I use this on my final coat. I also use this in between primer coats, and there's a little trick to that, a reason I'll have to explain in another video. It's just a way to get rid of some of those little pores in the foam that might be there that, you know, when you spray paint it, you still have that little pore speck or hole in there. So I'll cover that another time. But, so, there's my clear coats. There's my typical paints and primers are going to be the Exo Rust, which is much like Rust-Oleum. And then this is just another home decor, but this is a metallic silver. And the reason I did that is because metallic and gold both have the highest viscosity out of all of the paints. So I wanted to try the one that would be most dangerous. So these are what I choose to use, but it comes down to the basics, guys, of what's going to work is really any paint. What kills the foam when you're spray painting a plane is not the paint itself, okay? What it is it's the propellant in the paint, okay? Like on the back of this one, guys, I'll show you even what I'm working with on here, okay? Now out at Boeing, where I work, I use toluene, I use acetone, and we use petroleum sealant. So I use all this stuff out at work. It's bad stuff, you know. Toluene and acetone, you get that on foam, it's going to melt right through. No questions asked. So basically, you go to the old spray paint rule of keeping the paint can far enough back. I say 12 to 14 inches back, okay, and spray. What this does is it gives the spray enough time from the can to the item you're spraying that's made out of foam for the propellant to evaporate in the air and let the paint contact the product you're working on. So what really kills pits, eats, and alligators up foam, guys, is the propellant in spray paints. Now I've gotten pieces and I've gone to town with them on other types of paints and even EPS and stuff, and they all seem to work great with like 6 or 7 different brands I've tried. And, you know, anywhere from regular Krylon to, you know, all kinds of stuff. Generic stuff. They work great, but they all do the same thing. If you get too close with them, it'll kind of alligator it and pit it. And if you get really too close to them, or you put on a too thick of a coat while you're too close, it will actually eat a hole through it. Not through on my test. I didn't go nuts on them. It only takes a little bit to figure out what's going to happen. But that's what I did. So, guys, on paints, really, I mean, you guys saw what I'm running here on these, and I'll grab the silver one last time here for you. Try and get that zoomed in. Okay, so that one contains toluene and acetone. 2 things you would not want anywhere near foam. But as long as you keep the can back a good 12 to 15, okay, and as long as you use very thin, even coats, and just put on several coats that are thin instead of a couple thick coats, and it'll turn out gorgeous, guys. And I'll try and cover some more on painting. When I paint this next bird here, I'll just go ahead and record it and set it up in a little step, you know, multi-step video. So hope this helped out a little bit, guys. If you have any questions, hit me up. But, I mean, I've had success with about every paint I've used. Actually, I have had with every single paint. And I think it's honestly, guys, mainly following the rule of staying back far enough to let the propellant dissipate, because that's what's going to eat your foam. And thin coats, okay? And lay down a primer, always helps. But thin coats and distance and pretty much any spray paint is going to be just fine. If you don't believe me, go ahead and test it out on some extra foam laying around. I guarantee if you stay back and you put on thin coats, you know, and just keep going until it looks good, I bet you'll have pretty good looking foam and paint when you're done. So hope this helped out, guys. I feel a little out of the game for a while since I've been gone for so long, but I'll be back in it. Obviously, the Corsair still lies where she did a while back. I haven't done anything to her, so I'm gonna go ahead and pick up where I left off on her and get back into the groove with you guys and catch up and see how you guys have been doing. So I'll be catching up on your videos and stuff like that. So I will see y'all later. And if you get lucky enough to fly in this weather, have fun and post some vids. Later, guys.